Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his mind. His
The Wigan Way podcast is brought to you by Cherry and White Pins, a local Wigan Warriors themed pin badge company with a variety of Wigan ranges. You can get free shipping on all orders when you use the code The Wigan Way, that's The Wigan Way, all in capitals, at checkout. Thanks to them for supporting the show.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Wigan Way. As usual, I'm joined with Matty. How you doing, mate?
Hello, very good. Very, very good. On a very sunny day.
Yeah, it's really nice weather. And Lewis, you here?
I'm back, baby. We are back and raring and ready to go. And even more surprising, I am back. And I've not been away.
No, you've not been on holiday.
I've not been on holiday. I've missed the last couple of episodes. We've said it before, haven't we, that we're teaching on this. I think most of the listeners will probably know now. And with us, it's been exam time. It's been marking time. I work for the exam board, marking papers. So my days, not that I'm trying to play the world's smartest violin, have been work, mark papers, mark more papers, got to work, mark some more papers.
It's a grind, that job.
In free time, it was hard to come by, but I'm looking forward. Bit of an unfortunate one, we're coming and returning back on a loss, but I'm looking forward to being with you guys.
Maybe,
Talking rugby for a bit.
Maybe this is Wigan's way of punishing you for not being on the podcast.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe it's my fault.
Some poor performances.
Well, if we win on Friday, it's clear that me on this podcast is a good thing for Wigan rugby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's dive into this game. Friday, Leigh Sports Village. We lost 18 points to 8. Winning at half time.
It's hard to believe it now, but the weather was dreadful.
Yeah, it was
we got
dreadful.
wet through, and now it's gorgeous. It's going to be gorgeous all week, but yeah, it was chucking it down.
It was chucking it down. We lost this game 18 points to 8. Winning 8-0 at half time. So a second half that... It was a game of two halves, is probably the fair point. I thought we probably deserved an extra try in the first half. I think 12-0 would have been a fair reflection of that first half. And 12-0 would have been a fair reflection of the second half, really.
Yeah, I think we definitely got what we deserved out of the game, as did Leigh. That second half just kind of got away from us a bit. There were a couple of moments that swung the game. I mean, it doesn't take much to swing the momentum of a rugby league game. Kicking out on the full, kicking so the guy could catch it at his own goal to give a 7-tackle set. Those kind of things are huge momentum swings. A couple of times we had the opportunity to go for the biggest momentum swing in rugby league and didn't score off an intercept or from a breakaway, and I thought that was a bit unusual. That was a couple of breakaways we didn't finish off, which we're usually pretty good at.
Should we talk about that first of all? Obviously, the major one was the first half. A Marshall intercept. Couldn't find field back on the inside. Where we were stood, it looked like it was an obvious pass. Looking at the replays after, maybe he just doesn't get in his eye line, doesn't know he's there. I don't know. But Marshall very clearly carrying a little bit of a knock. A Fitley and Marshall doesn't get caught though.
No, we've seen that before many times.
And that was the comment from Matty Pete. Him and Miski are carrying knocks and they've been asked to do a job.
Yeah.
What do we think of that, them two playing?
It's happened before, hasn't it? We go a couple of seasons back, Byrne was playing with painkilling injections. Eckersley, I believe, was ready to go, though, for this game. I think that's the bit. I think Byrne had to, because that year, that time period, we
had no choice.
There was no forwards available, unless you're going to put all the kids in from academy. Whereas this one, it's like, well, Eckersley is there, he's ready to go, so...
He's been playing alright.
You brought Miski back early, Marshall's carrying a knock.
But with that, there's also Dougie, there's also Wade. So there are 3 or 4 options that could have played out there. But do you think that shows what he's not been happy with that meters, that yardage.
I think so, and I think defence as well. To be honest with you, particularly when I think about the Cass away game, the Wakefield away game, we just didn't look right with the defensive combinations, like a few flying in and not going with your centre.
Definitely, it's something that is difficult, really, in them partnerships. It's not a.
I do think our defence in the first half was fantastic, and even in the second half.
Yeah,
I think you've got to give some credit to Leigh, haven't you? Like, just said that it was absolutely horrendous conditions. You two were wet through, and in that, Leigh scored that amazing try with a couple of offloads and passes, and you're thinking, actually, if it do that with that slippery ball,
that try was worth winning any game. And you've got to hold your hands up and say they're a good team.
100%.
They're on the home patch. The crowd were behind them. It was very busy. They were loud. Both sets of fans were loud. It was very busy. They're a good team, especially at home.
Yeah.
Especially at home. And they scored a try that was worthy of winning any game. Now, the last try is what it is. I'm sure we'll talk about it in a bit, but I'm not really going to count that one as that we were being broken up, because we weren't. There were a couple of no tries that were... Was there one no try where Chandler was offside and he just took so long deciding it that it felt like there was two?
It had hit Thingy's head, hadn't it? Owen Trout's head. Leigh ended up getting
in front of him, wasn't he?
Leigh ended up getting the ball back because Field had knocked on.
Yes, that's
but
right.
But it went forward off Owen Trout, I think it was, into Chandler's hands as he scored the correct decision. That did take some time though, didn't it?
Yeah.
But let's go through them. Obviously, Jake Wardle opened the scoring for Wigan.
Yeah, nice centre play this.
Nice up.
Classic Jake Wardle this.
It was a nice pump and pass from Field as well.
Yeah.
This one, nice pump and pass.
And obviously we converted a penalty. It was 8-0 at half time.
Yeah.
Should be pretty confident in that position, but I'm not saying I was super confident.
Well, I would have been had we come down and scored first, even if it was just the 2 points. But
yeah, I don't think 8 points is going to do you. You're not safe, are you? 8 points away at home at Leigh.
You've always got the thought that Tessie New's going to crash over at some point. The way he plays against us, particularly. I didn't see what was probably the try of the season for 2 days coming, and obviously the last try is what it is.
Should mention in that first half, there was a couple of opportunities for Leigh, which we sort of got away with. The Frankie Halton no try from the video ref, where he seemed to have bounced the ball.
He should have scored there's no question in my mind he should have scored that. I can't believe really that we were let off with that one. It was right in front of us. We could tell straight away that he hadn't scored because we were right in line with it. But I just couldn't believe that he'd not scored.
No, couldn't believe it at all.
Because it was a perfect kick, and I thought, oh, here we go against the Griffin try from Wakefield all over again, copy and paste, and he just never got it down.
Definitely. They also had another chance. Break on the left-hand side. Charnley into open space, and he had a man back on the inside. Wasn't able to find him, and Field made a one-on-one tackle.
Yeah.
I suppose that is obviously even at 8-0. There was a few warning signs that...
But they're a good side.
Yeah.
They're third for a reason. Or fourth, wherever they are. They're top four for a reason.
One of the things I probably think hasn't helped us this game is how poor Leigh were last week.
Yeah.
In the fact of both teams, really. Because, we were coming off the back of a bad couple of performances, if I can get my teeth in. But Leigh, especially how they played, I think they were in front of their own fans wanting to really respond big, win the Battle of the Borough. They had a lot to play for in that game.
And it's a good point that you make there. Leigh always raised their game against Wigan. They have no choice.
Well, they beat us at home, didn't they? They didn't want to kind of show that was a fluke just to win 1-0. We want to win again in front of our own fans this time, and 100%. So, and you got to give them credit. Like you said, they're a good team. They're going to trouble anybody. Anybody going to the Leigh Sports Village is going to have an hard time.
Yeah.
No one's going to go over easy. It's a tough game.
It's this time of year. Sorry, Tom. It's this time of year where we go away for 6-7 weeks in a row. And it's everybody's cup final because you're the reigning champs. That's the way it is.
I think if they're getting that as well, it's tough going away from all that.
Yeah, and I said that on Friday night, and a few people were replying saying, "Well, it's not exactly Australia, is it? It's only in the northwest, but it's only 89 miles. But it's not the travel. It's not the travel at all. You've got to realise when you play sport, if you are on an opposition field and you're surrounded by 3/4 opposition fans
Well, I was
who
just
get
gonna
the
say-
home bounce of the ball, who get the home calls given to you by the referee, because they do. We do when we're at home. It's tough to be in that environment, and it's draining to be in that environment every single week in a row. You never, ever at a place where the majority of people want you to win.
Well, I was going to even add to that. Going away is not even easy for the crowd. Because you take a small crowd, you've got to be up and competing against 3/4 of a stadium. If you go to Yorkshire, you're probably under no cover. So you're getting wet through and you're singing
But
into
if you
nothing.
drive into
singing
Yorkshire,
shouting.
usually, unless you're going to Huddersfield, you're going back in time.
Yeah.
Because Lancashire clubs were forced to buy a new one, and Yorkshire clubs weren't. And that's the RFL, 20, 25 years ago, whatever, where they forced clubs out of Wilderspool and the Willows and Hilton Park to talk about Leigh, and said, right, you need a brand new stadium, you need Leigh Sports Village, you need Halliwell Jones, you need Salford Community Stadium, whatever it's called now. And then the other side of the pennines, they don't have to do that.
Well, they struggle. They've got no time back on road. Suppose they've got electricity, running water and Wi-Fi, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
that's Yorkshire for you, innit?
That is.
11 minutes we've been back. 11 minutes you've been back.
And he's been xenophobic towards Yorkshire. But it's true, isn't it? I mean, not that.
Xenophobic, we're classing Yorkshire as foreign people.
They think they are. Well, they're not that, what he's saying. That's not true, obviously.
It's
Like,
banter. They'd say the same
But
thing about Lancashire.
it's true that they got away with keeping the grounds from the 1970s, even earlier in Cass's. Have you seen a picture of Cass's ground when it first opened to today? For aerial shot, it's the same.
I know.
It's like a before and way before, like a picture at Slimming World.
Before your transformation.
And way before.
Still before your
Yeah,
transformation.
still waiting for your transformation.
How am I meant to bring this back to rugby?
I just got on my soapbox because you mentioned being out in the elements.
Yeah,
but
being away
that's
from
the
home.
point, though. You're away from home. You've got the smaller section. You're competing against 3/4 of the crowd being the fans. And again, there's no cover, so all your volume's gone. So you
And they're coming if they're playing Wigan, they'll come to the game.
yeah, and it's energetic. It's even as fans, you lose that energy a little bit sometimes.
100%. You got to give Leigh credit because you know what? They did come to our place and get a win in first game of the season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, let's see what Wakefield do. Can they come and get a win? Can Cass come and run us
Can
close or
Leeds?
possibly get a win? Can Leeds come to the DW Hull KR? Obviously, we beat them at their place. Can they come and get a win against us? We've got to remember, nothing's won yet. This is a very peculiar stage of the season. And
Well,
you've got to spike and peak at the right time. And
I'm gonna ask that.
I'm okay to have a dip in form right now when we're doing 7 away games or whatever it
I
is.
don't mind losing
consecutively.
2 of those away games where there's like 7 or 8 in a row. I mean, you've got to back it up with good performances at home.
100%.
But we lost 5 games last year. Now, in 2 of those, Wyre at home, Leeds away. In fact, in 3 of those, Leeds and KR away, we were blown away. Wyre at home, we were blown away. The other 2, you might have to help me with.
Paul lost at Hull FC.
Poor but close.
Eckersley scored 2 late on, didn't he?
And what was
Yeah,
the other one?
shocked that was
There was one more. Struggling to think of it now, but Good Friday it was really close and it was a red card and a bounce of the ball, whatever. So my point is, in 3 of them we got blown away. We've lost 5 games this year. 1-0, 2 points at home to Hull in the Cup, 2 points from the Ryan Hall header, 6 points at Wakey, and what turned
10
out
points.
to be 10 in this game, but was...
But I'm going to throw a caveat in there. Field makes a mistake trying to go length of the field.
It was 4
to win the game
when we tried to score a try.
from our rolling goal.
Yeah, so even you're saying 10 is your biggest defeat. We haven't been blown away.
No.
Ever. And in any of these games, we haven't been blown away. Now, we probably haven't blown as many teams away ourselves as we did last year. But we haven't had that performance. Like, you think back to Leeds away last year.
It's awful. Warrington at home, the season was done.
Yeah.
We'd lost to Hull and
Brad O'Neill had got ACL injury. That was it. That was done. We weren't making Old Trafford.
We
Remember
weren't-
the
we weren't winning,
conversations?
yeah.
We were defending us on Twitter saying, we will make Old Trafford, and if we don't, it'll be our own fault. But here, we haven't had one of them performances. This is probably our best performance of the month.
I'm going to be honest. You two both know me, and I can be negative and down when we play poorly and whatnot and think. But I'm seeing people write off the league leaders. There's still 13 weeks. Is it 11 weeks?
Never mind writing off the league leaders. People are writing off grand final.
Well, yeah.
In July.
But my point
when we're
is,
4 points off, when we're in second bit, basically.
His Hull KR are flying and whatnot and all these statements. We're 4 points behind them with 11 games to go. That's not even over.
And we've got how many home games left? 7?
7.
And they've got 4.
Like I just said, a lot can change. Yeah. I just said, okay, they've got to come to the DW. I think they've got to go to Headingley, haven't they? Both. It's ironic with Hull KR because we're on about away games, and the 2 games that Hull KR have lost have actually been at Craven Park.
But that's because they've had so many home games compared
Exactly.
to everybody else at this stage of the season.
Exactly.
We were 4 points behind them this time last year.
Yeah.
We were 4 points behind Catalan this time 2 years ago.
Hull KR, I'm just looking.
We reeled both of them in.
Hull KR at the back end of this season have got to go to Leigh, Catalan, Wigan, Leeds, and Wakey.
That's 5 tough away fixtures. We've got to go to Leigh the week after we've played them, though. Same as Wakey. That's annoying, that.
But Leigh will be under pressure now to keep bouncing up and basically become a top 4.
They'll not have any pressure on this week because
No.
they've just beaten Wigan, so they can have a week off if they want.
But do you not actually think that they might target it? Obviously, no Mikey Lewis.
Yeah, it's Wigan week, isn't it?
I love that saying.
Wigan week.
Let's go through the second half. Obviously, we should mention it. And then we'll probably talk some more about the season. But Tessie New opens the scoring for Leigh.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I said at half time, let's just get through these first 5 minutes. If the score's still 8-0 at 5 minutes, I'll be really happy. And it was. But we score, and we can see it 10 minutes into the second half. And Adam Kieran had done really well on him. I think it's fair to say he'd done a really good job on him in the first half. He protected Jack really well. And he just gets done. He tries to shoot up, and Tessino's an intelligent player. Let's be fair to him. It's not just brute strength.
He's a good player, isn't he? And he seems to play very well against Wigan in the few times he's played against us.
Very good
Even
player,
when
isn't
we
he?
beat them last time, he played really well that game.
Tremendous athlete.
He is, yeah.
Big,
And-
strong, powerful, agile, how he drifted across to get on Kieran's outside.
And we went, we were walking on Sunday, weren't we? And you said that he reminds you of Conrad Hurrell, but he's a bit more mobile and a bit better in defence, and And I've said, well, Conrad Hurrell when he was 23. Like Conrad came over for the 2013 World Cup. I remember watching him at Leigh Sports Village actually, and he was tearing it up. And you think, wow, this player could be anything. And obviously the Conrad we saw, and continue to see because he's still employed by Super League Club, is him towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
Where he's slowed right down. He's had some bad injuries in the last few years. Tessie New is he took the NRL by storm. Now, obviously, it didn't work out for him there, and that's why he's here at Leigh, but he'll be looking to get back there by putting in some good performances.
Yeah. As you should want your overseas players to do. You should want them to want to prove it and go back. Because if they're proving it and going back, they're playing well.
This won't be the last time we talk about overseas players this week.
No.
More to come in the news.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Pape try.
Good try, this.
Yeah, Ipape.
Got to give credit where it's due.
Backing up, but it's before this that really the try scored with the offloading game.
Yeah, and we talk about it. It's probably the biggest threat in rugby league, really. If you can attack from your own half, if you can throw the ball around safely, but still effectively and create disjointment, and that's what happened here. They ended up
got
with
some good imports, haven't they, Leigh, this year? I've liked what that offer Hingawi's done.
Yeah, it's been a good mid-season signing, wasn't it?
Yeah, mid-season signing. I thought he went well in this game. Sorry.
I think Isaac Lew's done a good
Yeah,
job
Isaac
replacing
Lew's-
Asiata.
For big shoes to fill there with Asiata, but he's done well. We spoke about Tessie New. Unfortunate for them that Armstrong's out for the season. I think they maybe rushed him back a bit too soon, but he's obviously played well.
Like in the replacement, aren't they?
Yeah.
Leigh, is it Hodgkinson, his name? Hodgson, sorry, not Hodgkinson.
Hodgson.
Good.
And I'm going to give praise to the guy who was coming at second row, Ethan O'Neill.
Yeah.
A very different style of second rower than what they'd had with... What's his name? He's just gone to Chalmers.
Check. Oh, Kai O'Donnell.
Kyle O'Donnell. Very different style of halfback, of second rower, sorry.
Is he playing much? Yeah.
He's playing this week because Bateman and Ruben Cotter are out injured, but...
Ruben Cotter played.
Ruben's played in Origin.
Origin this morning.
But
Bateman's injured after putting that try on last week.
yeah. His best game he's got injured after.
No, it was his best game for a while.
But they've imported well and they've picked up some good players.
Yeah.
Um,
And Lamb's a class act, isn't he? Lockley.
yeah.
He's a class act. And he's a good player.
And you know what you get with the rest of them if we're honest, don't we? Charlie, just making metre after metre. Hanley's, I've been impressed with Hanley. He's put some size on him. He's making metres now. That was always my concern about him. Who was on the other wing?
Chandler. Because there's no Darnell McIntosh.
Keenan Brand was the other winger, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. He was playing.
But they're all making metres and they're all working. Gaz O'Brien's playing well. After his 103rd head knock.
But this try from Ipape was good.
Yeah, very good.
Keep the ball alive.
They're a good team, and I think they're going to trouble teams from now until the end of the season. And I won't be surprised if they do finish top 4, and I won't be surprised if they're there come the business end of the season and the playoffs and the marine teams in the playoffs.
They're going to get somebody on that pitch in the playoffs.
If they can get
I'm convinced they're going to get somebody in that. I think they'll finish 3rd or 4th.
If they finish 3rd or 4th,
they'll get somebody on that pitch and they'll roll them over easy. Now, whether they go away to Wigan or Hull KR or wherever, Leeds, and win there, that would be a completely different story. But I bet they get somebody on that pitch and roll them.
definitely.
Because they rolled us just after they scored. A couple of times, actually.
I was just going to say that, obviously, it's so simple. But if you get momentum in a game and your pack's rolling forward...
It's what we said last week at Castleford. The Eckersley try gives us the momentum. We roll down the pitch, take the 2. We roll down the pitch, score the try for Farrell. Momentum's so huge, especially late on in the game.
Yeah, and I don't think we had any in this second half.
No,
we got any good ball area.
And that's why people were annoyed at Harry Smith for kicking out on the full. It's not far away from a 40-20.
Which is why he goes for it, to try it.
And that flips momentum more than almost anything.
Remember that top 10 momentum?
We did do a top 10 momentum changes in rugby league.
Yeah.
Red card was top.
I think the 40-20 was like third,
But 100 metre intercept was second, and then 40-20 was third, I think. Above yellow card.
Yeah, and it's just one of them. He's obviously just kicked it slightly wrong and it's killed our momentum.
Yardage penalty was 5th.
Oh, yardage penalties.
The bane of every coach.
On 4 tackles as well.
The bane of every coach, a yardage penalty, isn't it?
4 tackle.
4 tackle yardage penalties.
Yeah. Now this was, straight after this was the Charlie no try. Correct decision.
Yeah.
I don't think it needed to take as long as it did, but obviously he has to overturn.
Well, we could see it on the screen, and we were basically the screen, because
we were right under it.
We were holding it up, I think, like Atlas.
If I'd have been a giraffe, I'd have had a perfect view. But
we were like them people that sit at the front of the cinema. Craning the necks to see the screen.
Like a tennis match.
We had a pole each at the big screen. We were holding it up. We were right underneath it.
But yeah, it was the correct decision.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they come to the right decision. I don't think there's really, I should say this, much criticism of the referee. I've not seen much on social media.
Well, he can't give anything for his hometown team, can he?
No.
Because they're both his hometown team.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah.
If it's Jack Smith, both of them are his hometown team, so he can't give everything to his hometown team.
Yeah.
And do you know what we've got against Huddersfield this week as a referee? Because we can't have any Wigan referee in Wigan. No, we've got Chris Kendall, famously born in Huddersfield and played Super League for Huddersfield Academy. I bet it's not a problem. I bet he just does his job fine. And no one cares.
No.
Because it's against Wigan.
Because no one's looking for him.
No, he'll just do his job fine and no one will notice.
No. And that takes it to 12 points to 8. So we were losing with 4 minutes to go. Losing by 4 points with 30 seconds to go. Leigh do score again. Comes off a bit of a grubber kick that Field kicks away. He tries to pick it up.
I mean, this would have been, if he'd scored a winning try from booting the ball inside his own in goal, then picking it up, and that would have been try of the existence of Earth.
Yeah, definitely. He tries to pick it up. Obviously, he drops it in his own in goal, and
Billy Slater would, with the double chip and chase, would have to move over. There'd be a new best try ever.
Yeah.
Because I think that is Billy.
Sheffield will do it.
Billy Slater with a double chip and chase in Origin decider.
Definitely.
Unreal, that try.
But yeah, I'm really not bothered about this last try.
No.
Because I've seen people saying he should have grounded it. Well, yeah, but then you never score.
Yeah, you're not going to score.
Game's lost anyway. He's trying to pick it up and try and go full length.
He's trying to steal a win there into it, and he slips, doesn't work.
It happens, and to be fair, Trout deserves, because I thought Trout had a good game for Leigh.
He's a good player, isn't he?
He is, he was putting his weight about.
I can see why Sean Wayne wanted to speak to him for that
Performance squad.
performance.
Performance squad that actually isn't a performance squad. He didn't want to pick a team. Sorry, I'm just going to go on this. He didn't want to pick a team, did he?
It's in the news, but yes.
It's not a team.
It's just some players he wanted to talk to.
It was some players he wanted to talk to. And
Like,
he picked...
I want to see this in your game, or I want to see you do
Trout and
this.
spoke to him.
Do I always find funny though about that, just why she brought it up? What if he said, I want to see this in your game, but the club coach, he's coaching him differently?
I don't know, it's a good
It's
question.
weird, that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
If you said to
he's-
Owen Trout, look, Owen, the way we're going to beat the Aussies is late offloads.
Yeah.
I want to see more late offloads. And Adrian Lamb saying, don't offload the ball.
Just
You
do
haven't
it,
got an
yeah.
offloading licence. You just take your drives and get from on
No,
your
but
hands
I
and knees.
suppose at that point then it's opened a dialogue between player and coach. And he can then go back to Wayne and say, listen, I've spoke to Adrian Lamb and he doesn't want that in my game.
Probably. Wayne would just say, run hard, tackle hard.
I also don't
What
think
else
he'd
does
be
he
doing
say?
anything
What else?
tactical.
Is that it? Run hard, tackle hard.
Work hard.
For a forward, that's all he said. We've got to work harder.
Yeah.
That's what he'd say to Wick. You've got to work harder.
No, he probably wanted just to see something and spoke to players that are in and around there. Said, listen, you're in conversations, keep it up.
He picked 30, didn't he? And no NRL contingent, which is half a dozen to 10 probably players that could come over from there. So it's an inflated... It's just people that might be picked.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to say, I've seen criticism of why is Jack Wellsby there?
Yeah.
Probably because he wants to talk to him. What are you up to? How's the
Probably
rehab going?
because Jack Wellsby's going to play for England next time they have a match, which is ages off.
But obviously there's Matty Ashton, and he's probably just... I just want to see how he's doing and keep him in the
Yeah.
fold.
Yeah.
Because
He's an England player.
he's going to be England winger for the next 8 years, isn't he?
Yeah.
If we're honest. We're going back onto this game. 18 points to 8.
Yeah.
Not our finest moment.
No, I don't think it was a great performance, particularly second half. But it just looked like a side to me where you looked around and thought, he looks like he's carrying on. He looks like he's carrying on. These have been rushed back from injury. They've had 6 weeks on the road. Get home, hopefully get a couple of wins behind our belts. And I mean, the situation already looked rosier because our unstoppable competition that have already won the league lost on Sunday. So,
Well, listen, it's going to be amazing how quick the game changes. If we can win a couple of games at home really convincingly.
well, Hull KR could be walking onto Leigh Sports Village with just a 2-point lead.
My point being is, though, let's just imagine Wigan play well in the next couple of weeks, which is so unimaginable. If you talk to anyone, Wigan will never play well again.
Yeah.
But if they do, and Leeds and Hull KR lose a game,
See what the reaction's like.
see what it's like then, when they've both got to come to Wigan. They've got to come to DW and they've got to put a performance.
Is that again here, Kevin Keegan?
No,
They've got to come to the league and put a performance in. I'll tell you right now.
they've got to go to Leeds
I
Sports
would love it
Village.
if we beat them.
love it if we beat them.
They've got to go to Leeds Sports Village.
They've got to go to Leeds Sports Village and get a result.
But I think Matty Pete, in his post-match conference, I think summed it up well. He said, we expect the momentum to shift, but we've got to be more resilient, and you've got to give credit to Leigh because he played a fantastic game, and we go again on Friday.
How much confidence, as a percentage, have you in Matty Pete, Sean O'Loughlin, and Tom Sullivan?
All of it.
100, yes. Yeah, 100. To get this right.
All of it.
100. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's worth saying we've got 100% faith in Pete and the players as well. I think maybe we read too much after games. Maybe we should just detox and not read people's automatic opinions. There's a reason we host this podcast on. Not saying if we recorded it on Friday night, we'd be calling for Matty P to leave, as some people were, and for half the team to be dropped.
No, I'm going to say this. If you post on a Facebook group about Wigan Rugby as an anonymous member, you deserve blocking immediately. Because that means you're not even brave enough to say your own opinion that is just very clearly wrong.
No, see what they've done there. Very clever, this. They've posted a bait opinion to try and get you wound up, and it's worked.
It's called trolling.
Yeah. What's this?
People do it online quite a lot now.
It honestly,
That person said Pete should be sacked and Dennis Bett should be put in charge. That's a troll post.
it just does made because they then go, you get proven wrong. So someone said, I saw one about Adam Kieran and being poor at such and such a thing. Someone just proved him wrong statistically anyway. Oh, see, I got you. I was like, no, you didn't, you're just wrong.
See, that's the biggest problem is reading it in the first place and thinking it's real.
I deleted Facebook, it was the best year of my life.
Yeah.
It's coming back, it's going, it's gone.
Get rid of it.
Right, that wraps up that game. We'll come back and go through the eye catchers and
Origin.
the news.
Yep.
So, Matty,
Yeah.
bit of a change to the eye catchers because there has been a pretty big match today. Go on, take us through it.
There has been an Origin decider today, which is always nice when Origin has a decider, in Sydney. And it was Queensland, the rank outsiders, who were written off after losing the first game 18-6. They were then winners in Perth a few weeks ago, narrowly, and then dominated today's game.
Yeah.
The inspirational captain Cameron Munster in his first series as captain, with the passing of his father this week, coming back to the team, leading them out. They were fighting for him. Someone said to me this week, Queensland with a reason are dangerous, and Queensland had a reason. They were doing it for Stephen Munster, I think his name was.
Who said that?
Gus Gould. Yeah, Gus Gould said that. So they were incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, what caught my eye about this game, first of all, is that Paul Gallen is fighting Sonny Bill Williams in the next 2 weeks.
16th of July.
Yeah, that caught my eye. That's eye-catching.
No, it's not 18th of July, sorry.
Whenever it is, it's eye-catching. Valentine Holmes might never miss a goal ever again in a Queensland jumper.
No.
Because he kicks them and they stay kicked.
He kicks them and they're 20 yards into the ground. Like,
Yeah, I feel
wide.
like he could get a penalty inside his own 35 and kick a goal.
it's a long kick.
He's unreal.
Carry on.
Yeah. What else caught my eye? Shibasaki had a lovely pass for a Colts try.
Great
On his first
quarterback move.
Yeah, one forward. The hammer is outrageous. Tom Dearden got man of the match. Tom Dearden should have been man of the series. I don't know who was man of the series.
Who was man of the series?
Tom
Got
Dearden
Loyalist,
deserved man of the series because he was fantastic. Big call to drop DCE after one game, but Tommy Dearden was
Mad,
fantastic.
isn't it? Every move that Slater's really made.
Big calls like that.
Dropping DCE, bringing in Shibasaki,
Bringing in Robert Toyer.
Not bringing Reece Walsh in, but moving Hammer to full back.
Holmes to the wing.
Holmes to the wing.
Yeah, it's done well, hasn't he?
They've
And that's just the
all
backs.
worked.
Yeah.
A couple of tries in this I want to talk about. The one from, I think it was their own 35 metre.
Yeah.
They make a bit of a break down the right hand side.
Well, the one where
The Blues try and throw him in touch.
it was Robert Toyer throws that back inside, or was it Shibasaki? I can't
It
remember.
was Toyer.
And Hammer picks it up and dances around a few, then drops it off to Tommy Dearden for the score. Harry Grant scored. And you know what? This game was encapsulated for me within about a 3-minute period where someone went for a scoot for New South Wales and Hammer clamped the ball and held him up. And he had his whole body underneath the ball. And then Harry Grant went for a scoop for Queensland, and 4 men were on him, and he just rolled over and scored.
Yeah,
Dead
he
easy.
rolled past Reece Robson.
Yeah, and then
Past-
Edwards was nowhere.
Was it Crichton on the line? Oh, it must be Liam Martin on the line.
Val Holmes put an absolute shot on Angus Crichton. And Billy Slater was being interviewed, and he went, "Oh, shot." You know when your coach is saying that, you know he's done a good shot.
Yeah.
He put a big shot on Angus Crichton. But I thought Queensland were good value for the win.
Yeah.
Obviously, New South Wales had no Mitch Moses, which is a big loss for them.
Is that through selection? Is he back?
I'm not sure. It's a risk anyway if you bring him back when he's been injured. He's
Because I saw something today, but I have checked it, it's true. New South Wales haven't won a game without Mitch Moses since 2022. So he got brought in 23, and I think they won the two deciders, or he got brought in for game 3.
Well, I don't know why last year Bradman Best was the hero, wasn't he, in game 3? He never got a look in again.
Yeah. Well, they missing Latrell and Crichton, though.
Yeah.
Both of them were out, not even just one. But then last year, he got brought in after game 1 when Cleary got injured and bossed game 2 and 3.
Yes.
And they got dropped. Injured and then didn't play. And
Who's this, Moses?
Moses, yeah. It's just like...
Well, he was playing this year, game 1, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then they won
When
easy.
they won, yeah.
Some players just step up, ain't there? And
Yeah.
it's mad, innit?
So there were
Cleary's
tries. There were tries for New South Wales. There was a try for Stephen Crichton, which was quite a nice move, and then there was a consolation late for Brian Toto. But for Queensland, yeah, Tommy D got 2. Harry Grant scored. Coates opened the scoring.
That was it.
That was it. Yeah, 24-12. But they felt like they were worth more than 24-12. Weird.
What? Obviously, the Blues scored with about a minute left, wasn't it?
Where did Laurie Daly go from here? Where do Laurie Daly go? As if he's 3 people. Where does Laurie Daly go from here?
I'm not certain. There's going to be some serious conversations about players being picked, and he's going to... I can't let him say it. He's going to come under question marks about Cleary. Cleary's under question marks at this level, which is mad because he's played 3 deciders and lost all 3.
Yeah.
Was it 2019 they dropped him for James Maloney for a decider that the Blues won? So that's going to be question marks. He didn't make any changes. Payne has carried that pack.
I mean, they had a really good coach, Michael Maguire, who then was poached by Brisbane. Do you think that's just completely long game thinking by Brisbane? And no matter how good Madge is for us, he's quite good for New South Wales, and now he can't be anymore.
I don't know. I just think this is going to bring some serious questions in, and I don't know, to be honest.
That pack's not what it was.
That pack is so dependent on Payne.
Let's be honest, this Queensland side is not the Queensland side we grew up with.
No.
Darius Boyd, Greg Inglis, Jarrell Yeo-Yee.
You don't even mention the big 3.
No, but Darius, that's the 3/4 line. Yeah.
I think there's always some
Petro
serious
Sivana-Siva, Cameron Smith, Fuifui Moimoi.
I just think there's some serious questions about how a lot of these players play at this level.
Oh, I forgot Justin Hodges. How can I forget that? Slater, Boyd, Hodges, GI, Yeo-Yee. Lockyer and Thurston in the halves. You'd have Sivana-Siva, Moimoi up front with Cam Smith. They always had someone like Ashley Harrison at 13. He played 300 games in the NRL for all different teams. And then Sam Thaiday.
But he'd just make 60 tackles on the day.
Who'd be the second row? You'd have Corey Parker, maybe. Or sometimes he'd be on the bench. Who'd be in for Corey Parker? You'd have Matt Scott on the bench. Cooper Cronk, you could bring him off the bench.
He always played on bench.
Yeah.
Before that, it was Bowen.
Yeah, Matty Bowen could be, yeah. Matty Bowen at 14.
But this isn't a great Queensland side in comparison to that. It's still a very good side, but they just don't. They're just not getting it right. So yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like I said, and you said it before, when all this started with Munster, and obviously it's a bad situation for them, but once Queensland have a reason to play an extra 2%.
State of origin is just enormous.
I just remember what I was looking to say about this.
Oh, Stephen Crichton saying it's more important. Or was it Jerome Lewis saying it's more important than the NRL Grand Final?
It wasn't that. We listened to a lot of Australian podcasts and rugby league comments, and every single person who's talked about this game said the Blues need to get Crichton and Latrell early good ball and let them attack the wingers. Or wingers and centres. Every interview I've seen post-game has said we didn't adapt quick enough and start getting the ball out there. And I'm like, every man and his dog was saying before the game, that's the one thing you need to do.
Yep.
And you're saying that you didn't adapt to it quick enough, as if like you didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
It's just a very strange response, really.
Yeah. I wonder what the situation is with Laurie Daly. How he's going to...
I really don't know.
Yeah, if he's going to stay there.
Right, Lewis. You've been away. Me and Matty have held the reins of this new segment, but it's nowhere near the same. Nowhere near. Can you take us through some news?
Well, thank you for in the fort, boys. I will try and do it justice. First one, Danny Maguire.
Yeah.
Not like Castleford to change the coach, is it, boys?
No, it's not like them at all. They've they sack their coach every time they see their own shadow, those men. What a stupid thing to do. A rookie head coach, 17 games into his career, and he's not done that bad. What's the point? Why have you given him that? Why have you given him the reins to that for 17 games and then took it off him?
Well,
They must have somebody coming in.
who's going to be better?
They must have somebody better lined up.
But who?
I don't know.
There is no one available.
The McNamara's available.
And he's going to go there.
We might do. We might do. The three names I've seen linked are McNamara, Paul Rowley, who played it with the straightest bat I've ever seen this morning, and said, I'm not giving you a headline, talk about something else. And the third one, I think, is Justin Webster. Not Justin Webster. I'm mixing Hull KR coaches. Jake Webster and Justin Morgan. Remember him?
Mm.
Justin Morgan. I'm sure he's been named as a potential. Saw a picture of him.
It's hard to tell, but it is a strange one, isn't it? Like you said,
Oh,
exactly. I don't think Maguire deserves that at all.
And
There's been that tweet that's been going around on the picture with the, what was it, like a night with the coaches, and he's put, sorry mate, won't be able to make it now, in a thumb emoji. I was like...
I'd still go if I were Danny Maguire to that. I'd still go. If you might ask me some questions, I'll be really honest.
I'd be really interested to see what the fans think about this.
I saw there was a funny one from Richard Silverwood as well, because obviously when they got beat by us, he was crying into the camera saying they need to get Ganson and Silverwood back, at least they had backbone. Yeah. And Richard Silverwood tweeted saying, oh, me and Ganson, we've been doing the warm-ups, trying to get back into it and get the fitness back up.
Yeah, it'd be interesting what the fans think about this. Whether they agree with it, whether they're sick of having new coaches and not being able to build any consistency, because there's no long-term plan, it's just short-term, coach comes in, coach goes, coach comes in.
Even when we started this podcast, you were talking about Castleford. They can't make short-term goals, long-term goals, all this, because they had an interim boss then.
Yeah.
And they gave him the job, then they took it off him with 4 games remaining of the season. He went through 3 coaches in a year. Then they appointed Lingard.
His sacking was strange, wasn't it? Because he was just starting to do really
well.
well.
He was starting to do quite well.
He went from getting 50-odd, 60-0 absolute batterings to, like, winning away at Saints and, like, even in close games against big teams, keeping it close, and then they just sacked him. And it was like, what point to that? It just looked like it was getting good, like you were building something and you just killed it. Like, what are you doing?
Do you think this is something... And I've heard nothing. There is absolutely no reason that I'm thinking... Would you think it's something to do with coaches wanting to go to the next level and not being backed? Because that could be the only reason now that they're looking at who I'm going to bring in 26, 27, 28, and they're having falling outs, and that the manager gets sacked because it's
the recruitment.
They can't have all been bad picks. There's been that many managers.
It feels like every week they roll 2 dice, and if it lands on 12, they sack the coach.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like right now.
But do you not think they're all at a similar point? Like, wasn't Lingard sacked at this point last year?
No, it was a bit later, I think.
It was later in the season, I think, Lingard's. I don't know, it just seems like a massive panic, like...
Oh, sorry, no, I think he was sacked and Lingard came in. And Lingard got sacked at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Before this one for Max.
It was the end of the season when it...
but they're all like a 6-month period.
It's strange, it's strange. I think it's a massive overreaction. They've lost to Huddersfield. They didn't play very well. Maguire was saying they didn't play very well. He was really disappointed with the performance and he gets sacked. And it's like, you have bad performances in a season.
Do you think his comments to the media straight afterward when he said it wasn't a good advert for Super League? I didn't like that comment, but not enough to get him sacked.
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that.
Do you not think there's anything wrong with saying that?
No, because I think if it's a crap game and it's full of errors and low completion rates, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Well, we want him to be honest, don't we?
It probably wasn't the best advert for the game. That wasn't really a high, entertaining game or whatever. Like, he's giving his opinion. You can't shove an opinion in front of a microphone, in front of a coach. Ask for his opinion when he gives it.
Yeah.
Like, don't ask him.
Yeah.
Well,
you can't
what
use it as a
is-
stick to beat him with.
What I'm going to say, what would Wayne have said? What would McDermott have said?
I could tell you exactly what Wayne would have said.
Not
If
good.
Wayne had lost away, well, we know they're a good team, well coached, good in D. They've got some threats outside, but we've got to be better. We've got to be tougher. We've got to work harder.
He would take the blame. He wouldn't say,
No, he'd put it on himself.
He wouldn't say it's a bad effort. It's
got-
bad luck for the game. Because
Yeah.
that just looks like such a cop-out to me. Oh, it's a rubbish advert for the game. Well, yeah, but your team were awful in it.
Yeah, which I think he admitted.
I think he
to
did
be
admit
fair.
that,
He
yeah.
admitted to that.
Well,
Well,
just
don't
straight after.
talk about the product. Talk about we didn't do this right. We got to get this right.
He could have used that moment to heap praise on George Flanagan or
They played really, really well, but we were poor defensively, and we were better than that. And I just think if
and that is what they usually would say.
if you're an owner and you're sat there, your team's just been embarrassed like that, and all of a sudden it's a bad show for the league. But that no,
Yeah, but it's not enough to sack him though, is it?
no. But if the final
I
nail in the
disagree.
coffin-
I think he's allowed to give his opinion.
No, of course he's allowed to give his opinion, but
I do think though that the messaging from head coaches needs to be a bit cleverer.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it's just difficult when it's just been, what do you think of the game? It's like, yeah, look, we didn't play well. It wasn't really a good advert for the game. Like, I think you might be reading a bit too deep into it. I don't
Maybe.
think it's that deep.
Maybe.
It's better enough to get him sacked.
we're not saying he's got him sacked. But if he's done,
The fact that he went on Twitter afterwards saying, "I can't come in tomorrow, pal," or "not going to make this tomorrow, pal," whatever, with a thumbs up emoji, just feels like a weird sacking.
yeah, I don't know. They've not sacked him off one game.
Well, you can't sack someone for one game, can you?
That's what I mean. So surely
Even if
there
you lose to
must be
Huddersfield.
something else alongside it. Whatever that something else is.
Are they going to try and push for the playoffs? Have they left that too late? Maybe they want to sack him because they want to push for the playoffs. Bring somebody in who can push them for the playoffs, finish sixth, knock somebody out, whatever.
We'll see.
But they spent some money.
Well, the new owner, he's a moneybags and he wants to spend money. Maybe he just doesn't trust Maguire with that money. Not his hire. Was it his hire? Don't think it was.
No.
It's always risky, that, isn't it?
But
Time will tell in this situation what's going to do to bring in, like you say, if they manage to bring in, they do get him, but you know what I mean, and they get an experienced coaching.
what I will
They
say,
get Steve Mack.
That's what I'm saying, do you know what I mean? And then you might be thinking, well, it's just the right decision. But
but you really think
it's that solid buts and maybes, isn't it?
other way around. If they'd have won, do you think they'd have sacked him?
Luke Robinson.
No, Maguire. If Maguire had won, Cass had won, would they have sacked him?
No.
Then I doubt they got anyone lined up replacing him.
Well,
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It's like a bit of a panic. They had a bad game. Lost to Huddersfield. They've sacked him. It's like you're allowed to lose a game as a coach.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Very strange. Let's move on to the next one. We talked about this a little bit in the last segment, but obviously England squad got announced.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling quite performance squad, extended squad, or whatever you want to call it. It's raised a couple of eyebrows. Sam Tompkins was doing Bundy for one of the games, and he's got his role is like, is it director of? It's almost like a director of rugby role for England, isn't it? Like performance manager or something.
It would have been called tour manager back in the day, but
Yeah.
we got one for when we're at home now as well.
It's fancy title ever. Obviously, you know, Sean Wayne puts a lot of trust in Sam Tompkins, and he's talking to him. I said, yeah, he doesn't want to pick a squad. He thinks he's been told that he needs to pick one, so he's put a list of players together to announce, but he doesn't really see the point in it. He didn't really want to do it. He's waiting for October when seeing what players are going to do in the big games at the back end of the season and step up because they're going to be playing against Australia, the best in the world, and he'd see him in the big games in October, not in July.
It's the most stupid thing I've ever seen.
But then obviously people are using it for media attention.
People using it for
headlines.
media attention, which is fine. You can use it for clicks or whatever. But you're going to pick a squad in October to play against Australia, 3 matches. You're going to pick who's on form. You're not going to pick who was good in the first 10 rounds of Super League, are you? You're going to pick who's on form. You're going to add NRL players to it. But you're going to say, right, who's done well for the last 10 weeks of the season? Who's done well in the big matches?
The other thing I throw to that is there's people like Wellesby. And if he plays 3 games at the end of the season and he's fit, he's getting picked.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't know until you get there, like...
You don't know what your team's going to look like. And because we're not playing a match mid-season, which, Wayne wanted to play a match mid-season, or at least do something mid-season, on feet, there's no point picking a squad. Because it's going to look different by the end of the season. People will be injured, people will come back from injury, people will be in form, people will be out of form, people will be out of the team.
It's just the conversations where this has been with. There's obviously been people who've been missing out. Jake Connell's one. That obviously people were going to, and Wilkin had some very strong opinions saying it's just because Wayne doesn't like him, he's not going to pick him if he doesn't like him, type of thing. Which,
well, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
He's the boss.
Yeah, well, that's it. So he was saying that. There was a couple of people I saw commenting about, like, oh, well, loads of Wigan players have been picked and they've had a bad couple of games at the minute. And it's like, yeah, but those same players having a bad couple of games at the minute also won every single trophy last season. Like, and stepped up in finals, kept Hull KR trialists in a grand final. Like.
And if those same Wigan players play terrible for the next 15 weeks and drop out the playoffs, he won't pick them.
Exactly.
So, it's a stupid comment.
It is.
Yeah, you've had 2 bad weeks, but you've had 50 good weeks before that. And you might have 10 more good
And you've shown it in the big games, keeping teams completely trials.
I know. I have a conversation with you, Lewis, where you've been quite, not happy, but liked Wilkins' comments that he said what he thought and whatever. But I thought he was embarrassing in this.
Wilkin?
Yeah. Going, why has he picked him then? It was like he just didn't get what Sam was saying.
He doesn't want to pick a team. He doesn't want to pick a squad. He doesn't need to. There's not a match.
He's picked a group of lads that he wants to catch up with and have a chat with and see how they're doing and have some comments with them. And there's already reports about what he said to a couple of players and who he's spoken to and who he's not spoken to and whatever.
Not a big deal.
I'm just like, let's move on.
Not a big deal.
They're making it big. Much ado about nothing, it seems like at the minute. Right, before we go on to look at some signing news, last one. Been announced there's a change to the quarter rules.
Yeah.
Is it official?
I'm not sure this is officially rubber stamped, but this is...
There's been some articles made and coaches have been commenting on it. So if it is a rumour mill, like it has been passed to the coaches as a
it's been
a strong rumour.
Apparently the teams have been sent a letter confirming it.
Right,
and I wouldn't think Matty Pete would talk about it in the media if that isn't true.
And the rule is that essentially it's extended, you can have more
so there's 7 non-federation trained quarter spots at the moment, and that will be going up to 10 per team. So we would rise from 84 players in the Super League that were not federation trained, and that can be a maximum of 84. I know some teams don't use all of them. We don't have all of ours, for example, in use at the moment. But the maximum in the league is 84 right now. Now, if this is increasing the 14 team Super League or whatever, but we'll be going up to at least 120 overseas trained players.
There's 2 things I really don't like with this. One is the salary cap going to match it, because suddenly you're going to have squads that aren't prepared, that have got money to spend, and clubs that have looked long term and built a squad actually having no extra money.
Yes. Well, I don't think it's there for those teams. I think this is there to stop what happened to London last year. I think if they would have won a few more games if they were allowed to bring in 10 pros rather than at the last minute 7.
Yep.
But I also get...
But you're actually...
I also look at the quarter spots they used last year, and a lot of them were on drivel that never played, because that's all that was left.
Yeah.
New South Wales Cup guys that never even played in Super League and didn't play all that year. So I guess I don't want there to be... If 2 new teams come into the league, which is also being heavily rumoured, they need to have been told they're coming into the league and plan for that before now. And the next best time to do it is now.
I'd also be prepared to say, we're going to bring you in 2027. You've got a year to prep.
Yeah.
I don't think Super League will do that.
No, they won't. They'll decide on February the 1st that they're going to bring in Bradford and London or whatever, and give them 10 quarter spots.
I'd be disappointed when it doesn't work.
I think at the minute, you can probably take a bit of a flyer on an up-and-coming New South Wales Cup or Queensland Cup player. Teams have done that, it's failed, it's succeeded, whatever. If you have an extra 3 quarter spots to play with, you're just going to fill that with more of those players. So we've got 84 at the minute. If you then up that to 140, that's almost double. Mm. Think about some of the players we've got this year that are non-federation trained. That Clark, what is his name at Leeds, who we never see?
Is there an argument that this could possibly hinder, like, academies and pathways in clubs?
Well,
if
I've seen both arguments of
not the successful ones.
If quarter spots, well, yeah, that's the thing. So Matty Pete has come out and said that basically it's going to favour teams who don't have a strong academy.
Yeah.
Because obviously if they're not going to go to the academy and try and invest in that and make pathways and invest in young English talent and homegrown talent, they'll just go and sign an overseas player or whatever. So there is that argument that possibly this is going to, rather than the long-term investment into the game, it's going to just be a short-term where we'll just go and sign however many overseas players to make us compete for now.
It's weird. With this, I think you can argue whichever way you want, depending on what outcome you want from it.
Yeah.
If you want to say, it'll make the English game stronger because more of these quality players will filter down to the Championship, and then only the best English talent will be in the Super League, and they're competing at a higher level with better players.
Rubbish.
You can argue that. And you can also argue, it'll ruin the game because, whatever, we'll only see the impact of it in 5 to 10 years.
And the question then becomes, well, will the NRL want to invest in this? Those rumours have gone away, haven't they? Do the NRL want to invest in such a competition that seems to...
Does academy set up affect IMG points or anything like that?
To be honest, Lewis, I think we're abandoning IMG. Spent a lot of money getting into bed with them, and I think they probably said a few things that the owners didn't want to hear, or some of the owners didn't want to hear, and we've binned them off.
Because I was just thinking, could there be a way you could do both? Well, you can increase the quarter spots, but also have incentives and encouragements to try and get clubs to invest into grassroots and academies and long-term success.
Well, the scrapping dual registration.
You can do both.
The scrapping dual reg. Well, that's another thing they've only just brought back in the scrapping already.
For an improved loan system, in quotation marks.
Well, dual registration and a reserve system, first of all, is bonkers. Because Wigan could say, right, everybody's fit this week. Jack Farrimond and Eckersley and Douglas, you're in the reserves, and Harvey Hill, you're in the reserves.
And Forber.
Right, and we put an insanely stacked reserve team out. Got Hurst, Hill, Douglas, Wade, Eckersley, Forber. And then...
I don't want to funny, throw into that, if when Thingy comes back, Walters, you might be throwing a Dupree in.
Yeah. Then, you think, right, the next week, all them lads are out on loan, and our reserve team is basically the academy side. So, really, you think, the reserves have done well this week playing against St Helens, but they might have all had their lads out on loan. We've all had our lads. It just doesn't make sense. The dual reg system doesn't make sense.
There is one other option with this.
Every team needs to have a reserve team, whether that plays in League One or whatever, a reserve team and an academy team, and there's no excuses for not having that.
Definitely. What I was going to say was, with regards to the quarter spot, there is one option, another option that's not been discussed really. Obviously, we're cricketers, Matty, you look at the IPL, whatever, they sign 6 overseas players, but you can only have 4 in your team at once.
Yes.
Could you see a world where it goes up to 10, but you can only play 8?
I don't see a point in that. You're paying non-fed money for people to sit on the bench.
I don't know, just a thought. So you still have to play 9 federation trained players. If it was 8 and out of the 10 or whatever. But just don't know.
We'll see what impact it's going to have, but it's a weird one. Like you say, I think there's arguments both for and against, so we'll see where it leads to.
There's got to be some caveats in there. You can't just say, right, it's now 10.
Yeah.
You've got to say, right, it's 8 this year, then 9, then 10 or whatever, or you have to have them under 21, or you have to have them from a tier 2 or tier 3 nation or something like that. There has to be some sort of extra in this. We can't be just hearing the whole story of it's going from 7 to 10.
No. I was going to say, Lewis, I have just took a sneak peek at your news and whatever, and the signing news that you're about to say. Go on, you say it, and then I'm gonna.
It's okay. Go on, you can do it.
Stop messing with the man's
No, I know.
news.
It's okay.
Lissoni to Hull. This is the first one based off this, really, isn't it?
Well, they were waiting for the increase.
They were waiting for the increase because they were at 6 and are trying to sign Liam Knight and wanted to sign Sam Lissoni. But they couldn't sign Sam Lissoni if they got Liam Knight. So
the cap.
Yeah.
So they were not under the cap.
No, sorry, I mean the cap
quarter-
is 7.
the quarter cap, sorry.
Quarter cap is, and then they've got 7.
So they've been waiting for this to see whether they have to pick one or can get them both.
No, I said yesterday morning, if Wood really wanted to benefit Bradford, he'd do an expansion draft like they do in America. Can you imagine that? You know what that is? So that's where a new team comes in the league and every other team can protect half its players. And all the other players in the entire league are just up for grabs. So you can say to Wigan, Saints, Leeds, Leigh, okay, right, you can protect 15 players. They're off the table. But all the rest, and they can choose any. And they choose 2 from each team, maximum, and they fill the rest out. And that's there, they make the squad. Imagine that, it'd be uproar. But who would you protect? That's the question. You've got 15 spots to protect. You can't protect your whole squad. You can't even protect your match day squad. Do you prioritise somebody like a Jack Farrimond? Or do you prioritise somebody like a Sam Walters? You might have to make that decision based on money. If you're the new team coming in, do you go with someone on big wages or do you... And how do you take over the contract? It's just such an American thing.
It's mad, by the way.
Yeah.
Other signing news, Catalans have signed Toby Sexton.
Good signing.
Well, yeah, rated highly, isn't he? So
He's rated very
he'll be
highly.
light up the Super League.
He's rated up very, very highly. What coach have they got for next year? Do we know?
No.
Well, they're not. It's Joel Tomkin for the rest of this season.
Very Saxon.
Who have we got for the next year? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think they've announced anything yet. I think it's just Tompkins still in the interim.
They must have
interim
somebody
basis.
obviously. They must have somebody.
So, well, it's always a weird thing, this, isn't it? When you don't have like plans in place for next year, but you start making signings, and it's a bit like, well, there's
who's
no
signing
coach
these
there.
players? Yeah.
Exactly. I just had the same
Sexton,
conversation with, obviously, yeah, if it's a superstar, but I just had the same thing with Castleford, didn't you? Maguire with the coach being signed, and and the new owner, it's a very similar thing.
Yeah.
Next one, Ollie Russell has signed for Salford on a 2-week loan.
Yeah. Did Danny Richardson go back to KR? Is that why that?
Still not confirmed.
Is that why that happened? Do you reckon?
Don't think it's confirmed yet.
So
He'll be all right this week, Danny Richardson.
weird those
Blue
2
skies, no
weeks.
clouds.
No 5G.
Weird that it's 2 weeks.
I don't know. It's a very weird thing. For
I don't know why it's not a
2-week
month,
loans,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just a very. I don't know. It's a strange time frame. A couple of extensions as well. Satire is extended.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So he's going to be there to the end of 2026, and Josh Roke is extended at Wakefield, I believe.
2 more years. Yeah. So,
2 more years.
So Sate has extended without knowing what the coach will be as well.
Yeah, still working in France.
Yeah.
And that wraps up the news, gentlemen.
Yep. Nice one.
There's been a bit, hasn't there?
Yeah, stuff going on. There's stuff more to come, especially now we sign.
It's that time of the year where everything needs to be decided for next year by now, and it should have already been decided, really.
Really good. Right, we'll take a break and we'll come back and go around the grounds. Okay, so I'm going to go around the grounds really quickly. The first game we've sort of talked about, but we'll just mention it. Huddersfield went to Castleford on a Thursday. I was so glad this was on a Thursday, so there was no other sport on, and everyone could watch it. This great standard of rugby league, really.
Yeah.
You've
Huddersfield.
criticised Danny Maguire for
I know.
saying that.
No, that wasn't me criticising him. I loved the fact that these two teams were on a Thursday. Partly because...
Did you have plans on Thursday?
No, I watched this, and I thought Huddersfield were great. Value for a good win.
Huddersfield were pretty good. Yeah, Flanagan was really good.
I'm pleased for little Luke, because I quite like him. No, Wigan and all. Former
He couldn't
Wigan.
speak, could he, after the game?
I know.
His voice.
Yeah, because
His voice has got something, sorry.
he'd probably been shouting and screaming like, "Go on, lad!" Like,
Get into it.
Get into him. Go on, man. Go on, Giants.
They don't like it up 'em.
I liked Tyrone Mill in this one. He scored that try, what was given as a no try, because he got up and didn't think he'd scored. So he got sent up as a no try. Then he scored an actual try.
Yeah.
I just thought it was fun. It's a fun game, this. I quite liked it. I know it wasn't the highest standard, as we've said, and Danny Maguire is right for that, but sometimes that can be fun, especially when your team isn't involved.
Yeah. Big second half for Law. Really big second half from Huddersfield. 18 unanswered
Well,
points.
but Huddersfield, but think about this though. Cass only scored 12 points and they were all within one brief, very, very brief
Last 3 minutes.
window. Huddersfield dominated 75 minutes of this game. And it was just Cass hit him with absolute sucker punch twice.
We'll have to start doing predictions again so I can keep back on Huddersfield and they find a win. On a weekly basis.
We got asked that the other day. Why we not doing that anymore?
Predictions.
Oh, the fans want it back.
The answer is because...
We always back Wigan.
Well, no, because we didn't do Wigan games. The answer was because we always wanted to back the same team. And so then one of us would have to be different, and then they would obviously inevitably be wrong. So it just became like we were all picking the same team every time.
Yeah.
And then the listeners always pick the favourites and then won by 20 points at the end of the season.
Yeah. Warrington Salford. Warrington went to Salford. They won 24 points to 12, but it wasn't without a little bit of a
bit too close for Warrington's liking, I think, this one.
Too close for comfort.
They went 6-0 up, losing 8-6, scored just before half time to take a lead in. But Chris Hankinson's boot showing.
We scored one try in this game, Salford. We got 12 points. They kicked penalties, kicked him to death.
Hankinson was peppering them over the sticks.
Yeah. Listen, you might as well, if I don't want to be funny, the situation they're in, take 2 points if game's close, like no matter what. But 2 tries in the last 20 minutes, ran out a little bit of steam, Salford, and Warrington come away 24 points to 12. Would you be a little bit worried if you were a Warrington fan after that, or just move on?
Well, they lost against Huddersfield recently, didn't they?
2 weeks ago. But they beat Hull within that as well, in between that. I just think just move on.
They're currently 8th, 2 points behind Wakefield in 6th. It's Warrington in 8th with 16.
Yeah.
Hull at 7th with 17. Wakefield at 6th with 18. So
all to play for.
They're not panicking. They can still
All
make
to
the
play
top.
for,
6
definitely.
points behind St Helens in 5th. So it looks like they're going to aim for the 6th. Creeping at 6. Competing with Wakefield and Hull. And
Well,
possibly Catalans if they find a bit of
They
form.
cracked in
but
at 6
this is
before,
good.
didn't they? When they had Chambers and they nearly beat Saints.
Here's one for you.
Was
do
it
you,
Saints? Yeah.
Do you think that top 5 locked in now? Do you think Salford and Leigh and Saints are joining the top 3?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
With
I
Saints
don't
in
know if
fifth
it'll
and
be in
26th?
that order.
No,
I think the order's going to change up a little bit from now until the end of the season, but I think it will be those 5 teams who make up the top 5, and there'll be those 3, Wakefield, Hull and Wyre, fighting for the 6th spot.
Yeah.
I think, definitely.
Going to move on. Not much else to say about that game. St Helens beat Hull 13 points to 6.
Yeah.
12-0 up. David Litton scores. And then the last minute 1-pointer just to seal the deal.
Yeah.
There was a try in this game. One of the right-hand side winger.
We scored them both, so.
Right, so one of them, well, the point I'm making is it had Leigh all over it.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah. It was a shift from going up to the right, and it was very good shape out the back to Sailor, and full back who threw a face ball to Felty who went over. And it did seem a very... I just looked at him for St Helens, whose criticism has always been their attack. It looks like Leigh Breez's influence was starting to come through a little bit.
Wait. That can't be right. Because if Leigh Breeze has got his hands on this, they should have won by 60, according to our fans.
According to our fans.
Well,
So,
it was just an observation.
if they only scored 2 tries, that can't be Leigh Breeze.
no, I like what you're saying there, though. No. I think Leigh Breeze as a coach does like to play that way, and he's attacking coach whatever. Carl Felt obviously is a good player. He knows where the try line is. He's scored bucketfuls of tries last year even. And so to have him back is obviously a big boost.
I think this top 5 is going to get interesting now. Because you got us, you got obviously Hull on 30, Wigan on 26, Leeds on 24.
Hull KR.
Hull KR on 30, I should say. KR on 30. Thought that wouldn't have to be implied because it was at the top.
You have to call them by their name. Rovers.
Rovers.
You call them Rovers.
30, 26 for Wigan, 24 for Leeds, 23 for Leigh, and 22 for Saints. And Saints need to find a little bit of form. Maybe getting again Carfelt back now. Could they be on a charge? You could start upsetting a couple of teams, turn over Leeds, possibly turn over a whole KRR. We don't know. I think.
But do you not think, actually, I'm only saying that, but do you not think 3-4-5 are now in form? Leeds, Leigh, and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
so
this is what I mean.
wins.
I actually think if you looked at, obviously, those top 5 teams, you'd say the worst form is us.
Well,
form.
If you look at the egg power rankings that Super League have released...
What the bloody hell's egg power rankings?
I don't get the egg power rankings because we were 6th last week and then lost to Leigh and we've gone up to 4th.
Yeah.
So the egg power rankings to me are still a mystery.
Is this power rankings that are sponsored by eggs?
Egg.com. Do you remember when England had those shirts with no names on the back where they were sponsored by Egg.com? So every player was called Egg. So Jack Wellsby scored a try and they were videoing him and it just said Egg 1 on the back.
You know, I have never seen anyone on a power ranking lose and go up.
We've gone up 2 places.
Yeah.
2 places and we lost.
Leeds are now top of it.
But why were we 6th in the egg power rankings anyway after winning at Cass? Why were we 6th?
I don't know. I just wanted to mention
The
that.
the egg power rankings are not anything to go off. When we did power rankings briefly, they were actual proper power rankings. And they were only early.
We're going to have to start that again.
They were only early in the season as well because power rankings late in the season pointless because everyone's played everyone.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say though. I just wanted to bring that up because it makes me laugh. Wakey. Had Catalans at home after losing to KR last week. Big win this, 44 points to 6.
Yes.
Catalan are going to be so disappointed.
Well, Catalan, we can bring it back now, can't we? Catalan again, 1 win in however many.
1 in. Can we just do the statistics on this? 1 win in 9. Can't carry on like this.
It can. It can. And the bus broke down for Catalan on the way. So what made it break down, mate? Mick wouldn't go any further.
But
we're 1 bad defeat away from Joel Tom Keane with Careless Whispered looking into the camera. George Alacobe behind us.
we're not close to him getting scared by nothing.
There's some people listening to this who, 1, don't like football, or 2, don't have Instagram or TikTok but see the Mick McCarthy reels and videos. They're going to be very confused at what we're quoting here.
We'll share it later on the Twitter.
Mick McCarthy, when his team was in a bad run, just was absolute gold on the mic, and I think that's what Joel Tom Keane needs to be. He needs to start making more jokes, I think. Warnock was always a joker.
Do you reckon he'll do a Joey Burton speaking football and started with a French accent? Do you remember that interview with Joey Burton?
Yeah.
He did
Steve
that.
McLaren did Dutch, didn't he? He did Dutch accent, and then he's now Jamaica coach, and he was doing a Jamaican accent.
Oh no, you're flirting with the line.
Yeah,
You're doing that. You are treading a very thin line when you start doing Jamaican.
But actually, on the rugby,
Yeah.
how bad was Catalans be doing it? Because we all lined them up. I think we lined them all up in the top 6.
Yeah, I think we had them 5th, 6th, and 7th in some order, or they were about on the border, the bubble.
Yeah,
I think I went quite low, didn't I? 'Cause I said losing.
I think you had 7th as the lowest, and he was the lowest.
whatever
I think
was
they were a bubble team for all of us, really.
but genuinely, we've already written them off. They're 6 points behind Wakefield. We've already written them off, haven't we? If they'd have won this week, you'd say, you know what, they're still in the chance now.
Well, last week we said they were in with a chance because they'd had a good win the week previously. Yeah, I just think this is a weird situation. Joel Tom Keane has the job for the rest of the season.
That's that come naturally.
Joel Tom
He's got to start asking the questions again, Bernard, because he's put loads of money in again this year, and they're dreadful again. He'll be on television doing 2 thumbs down in no time.
I've got it.
His raging bulls onto the
Releasing
field.
his raging bull.
I was just going to say, we've had no Bulls incidents. We've had no conversation about his sausage factory.
It was good to see the Bulls back in Super League, though.
We've had no conversation about his sausage factory.
Yeah, we have, because Guillermo Aspiro Biche works in there. And that other lad, what's his name? Delator, doesn't he work at the sausage factory as well?
Aspiro BG works on the sausage factory. 40 plays full that for the Catalan Dragons.
Yeah.
We're going back to Figantino, who'd been come out of the dog and bear trees. Remember that from a couple of years
He
ago?
was good this morning, Big Tino. Guillermo Spirabiche worked part-time at a sausage factory, and once he got into the team, then I think he stopped. But as a young player, he was still doing
I
shit.
tell you what, if he plays ball,
He's back to the,
hey, you're in FA tomorrow.
it's back to the sausage for you. Get your apron on, lad. Sam's back.
Sam starts getting that knee strapping out, and he's thinking, "Oh, I've got a shift tomorrow at 8."
Put the apron on and then churn some meat.
Oh, Wakefield, really good.
That must be from mad when your boss is a sausage magnate.
Oh, we've lost all professionalism.
You never started with any.
Should we move on to Sunday?
Yeah.
Go on, Tom. What
We
happened
had
on
fun
Sunday?
watching this game on Sunday in the beer garden, didn't we?
Oh, this was good.
Good game.
14 points to 8, Leeds win. I'm going to start off with possibly Lockie Miller's try of the season.
Well, he went past the Pape. Pape only held it for 2 days. Lockie Miller's definitely got the try of the season so far. Starting off the move himself and finishing it. The last pass from... Was it Hanley the last pass?
Yes.
Or was it Newman?
It might have been Newman.
A gorgeous last pass and yeah, just a brilliant team try.
A try that deserves to win a game like
Again,
this.
yeah, I love a team try. And obviously, prior to this, Sam Lassoni had just barreled everybody out the way and left 3 defenders in the dust on his way to scoring the equaliser. But I liked this try. It was a gorgeous move, and I love a team try.
Before we talk about something, what's your opinion on what Jared did, Lewis? Getting the ball from a knock-on and giving a penalty away for dissent.
Lewis will have an opinion on Jared giving away a penalty and costing his team 2 points when they're winning 8-6.
I've said it from the start. It's part of his game. You sign him, you know what you're going to get.
That is so diplomatic from you.
It's
Well,
so
it is,
Jared.
but it is, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
No.
I've said it for all the time. He's got that.
You're
he's
8-6 up, you've got the ball underneath your own sticks, and you give away a penalty for dissent.
To be fair, he's not been as bad as I thought he was going to be.
No, he's not.
He's actually played more games than I thought he was going to play because I thought he'd spend him in a disciplinary panel on the sideline with suspensions. He's not been too bad for Jared standards.
That's just Liam Horn's job, which wasn't in your news, but 6-game ban for Liam Horn, picking up Cade Ellis.
Now, we've got to mention something. Mikey Lewis has failed a HIA.
Yep.
This is spicy.
Well, actually, he didn't fail a HIA. He didn't.
He's had to follow concussion protocol.
He passed a HIA, but it was not relevant because he had shown Category 1 symptoms, which is knocked out cold. Because he'd lied motionless on the floor, then his HIA has no bearing on whether or not he passes concussion protocol. So even though he passed,
It's a bit confusing as to why they still do the concussion test then.
it begs the question, how many questions did he get right at the start of the season? And that he still passed.
The concussed, he still got it right.
Concussed, he still passed the test. Yeah.
That's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the protocols, what I mean is actually you're giving more accuracy to someone saying we thought you was unconscious because you was lying motionless to an actual assessment and test. You know what I mean?
That's how it's always been.
It's always been.
Yeah, I get that. I know that's the protocol. But I'm saying I find that quite strange. Surely I'd say the actual assessment and test has more validity.
But they're saying if you don't even do an
Yeah,
assessment.
if that's the rules, that's the rules. Do
But
you know what I mean?
this is the weird thing. I'm wondering because you look at the December one from last year in the grand
I was
final.
all surprised when he come back on.
Yeah.
He was motionless, but when you watch the replays,
He's told to stay motionless because
he's told to stay still,
He's with
and
it.
he's talking immediately.
He's with it.
He's not out cold.
So I
He's
wonder,
saying it's my neck, and they're telling him stay still.
so I wonder whether there is something to do with the doctor running on, and if you don't respond immediately to what's being said, actually you're deemed as unconscious because you're not responding. I'd genuinely love to sit down with someone and explain how they do these concussion assessments.
I'm not
and
sure
what
you'd
they
be
look for.
allowed to do that. I don't think you'd be allowed to.
No, I don't think you would, but
Go behind the curtain, so to speak.
So this does raise a question, doesn't it? Because we know Mikey Lewis can be quite dramatic in certain situations.
He has a flair for the dramatic.
and
you could say,
maybe
yes.
it takes part in some gamesmanship
Yes,
activities.
you could say that as well.
So if he has maybe
In-
been lied on the floor, pretending to be more maybe hurt than he actually was, in the thought that might actually impact the ref's decision on punishment for the opposing player, it's actually screwed him over now because he can't play even though he's passed the HIA, but it doesn't wear any bait.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed he did one. Because if that's the rule, then why would you even bother putting someone
If
through
you
it?
should, yeah.
It's a very good point.
Unless it's a case of seeing how bad it is. if you fail to a certain level.
And isn't the talk of Hull KR almost like trying to appeal this? Or something?
I don't. They can't.
I was going to say,
That might have been a joke, Lewis. I did see a joke about he should get half because of how much brain power Michael Lewis has got, which we would never make that joke, but I think that might be what he was referring to.
But this is a massive win for Leeds. Go back onto the actual game.
Oh yeah, it shows Leeds that. I mean, they've beaten Wigan and Hull KR now.
Shows the serious this season.
This one was away from home, and it wasn't in terrible conditions, and with a scrappy win. If this was a proper win,
I'm going to say something. Put some doubt in Hull KR because at the moment Wigan and Leeds are competing for that second, third, potentially fourth spot if Leigh get dragged into it. And both of them have gone to Craven Street and won.
Craven Park.
Ah, no, it's Craven Street. Not bothered.
You know what? They're putting a stand in front of Craven Street for the last 4 home games, so you can't even have your burger and watch the match.
Is there going to be a toilet?
Oh, well, they'll have to put toilets in. They
I
can't just.
I don't think there was one last time.
They can't have a 1,000. They can't have a 1,000 seater temporary stand and not have toilets.
I think this Saturday now coming up is going to be we're going to find out a lot about Hull KR on Saturday.
When they go to Leigh?
When they go to Leigh.
I just hope Leigh... I hope Friday didn't take too much out of Leigh. I know they've got the extra day's rest or whatever. 2 extra days rest compared to KR. But I hope it didn't take too much out of them.
Correct. Because if they would have had a Catalans, a Castleford, or Huddersfield, where you knew, they're going to win quite comfortably, I don't think it really says much about them. You've just lost to Leeds.
Yeah.
You're now not going into, no disrespect to those teams I've just mentioned, an easy fixture. You're going to Leigh away.
You're going into the Leopards Den.
The Leopards Den. And the Leopards will roar.
You're going to hear the roar.
They're going to be tested, and it's a case of, no, this is a test of character. Because I think it gets then into back-to-back defeats.
Without Lewis as well.
And you know what's going to...
Given that they didn't have Lewis...
That will then raise questions about their run of form, and the conversation might switch from Wigan's had a couple of bad performances to Word as Hull KR.
And they always talk about Wigan without French and without Field.
Well, they can win on Saturday at Leigh, that'll be
without
massive.
Michael Lewis. The defeat against us was without Lewis. They were winning this game, and when he went off and then lost it, this is a big result. If they can win without him...
You know the other thing I want to mention? The last 7 rounds of Super League, I think it is. Yeah, 7. Hull KR have played before Wigan. So you get your 2 points on the board and extend your lead.
Not this time.
This week, we play first. That gap could
We played
potentially
first
be...
just then in this round of fixtures.
Oh, sorry, before, sorry, before this. Before that it was 7. So actually now, that gap could be cut down to 2.
Could be.
There's pressure on that.
You could walk out here in the roar and you're only 2 points in front.
Without
We've got to take care of business TCOB on Friday against Huddersfield on Billy Boston Day. I mean, we have got to take care of business on Billy Boston Day.
I will give a bit of credit as well before we wrap this up to Jake Connor, because we've been very critical of Jake Connor. Well, my thing with Jake Connor always was, even when the Sky Sports nicknamed him Jake the Snake, and there was all this big thing about it, was, again, no disrespect to any teams.
Jake, that no good snake.
Yes. But he would stand up in games, maybe, again, easier games against lesser opposition, but when he had to go play St Helens, who were winning 4 on the bounce, he was not at the same level as maybe Johnny Lomax or James Roby on that field. And my thing was always, your next step for you, there's talk here about England and international honours. Well, I'll tell you what, go to a really tough one and be in the same calibre. Look like you belong on that field with the best players. Don't get lost, and have no one talking about you type thing. And I feel like this is one of the first games where we've seen that. It's the top of the Man of Steel. He's gone there against Hull KR, and he's been one of the best players on the field.
Yeah.
He
needs to do more of that.
He has to do it again.
Exactly. He's got to do more of that, and that is what I think will get him possibly
if it's
in
a one-off,
instead.
If it's a one-off, if it's a flash in the pan, whatever, then...
I saw a great team talk by Brad Arthur at half-time of this game. But going out there and dying for the 2 points, basically.
Yeah.
And I thought, gee, that's a proper coach. That doesn't get them wound up, get them motivated. Run through a brick wall for Brad Arthur, and they will. Look at them. Look at the way they play. They will run through a brick wall for him.
Right. I think that wraps it up. It's all a little bit interesting again. We said it the other week, but...
Yeah. Get down early for Billy Boston Day.
Yep.
Getting these seats early.
Definitely. Be a really good good day altogether.
Pay homage to the great man,
Sir Billy.
Sir Billy.
And thank you for joining us, Matt, Lewis.
Good to be back, boys.
Hopefully, we might get you 2 weeks in a row.
You will, back to
Get on
back.
the back of a win, hopefully.
Yeah. And
The curse will be lifted. Lewis comes back, Wigan start winning.
Yeah, well, you curse Huddersfield, so we've got a chance. We all know you curse Huddersfield. That was years ago.
So, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
See you soon.